Good day, my name is Sadia Mari and I am representing South Africa. I serve as the Manager of Medical Services at Groote Schuur Hospital, which is a central tertiary hospital in Cape Town, Western Cape. My portfolio includes managing mother, woman, child, and adolescent healthcare services. South Africa is a diverse country with 9 provinces, 12 official languages, including sign, and a constitutional multi-party democracy that functions across national, provincial, and local spheres. We have a population of about 62 million, mostly women, children, and youth, with the majority living in urban areas. South Africa is marked by stark inequality, a legacy of our dark past, and is reflected in a Gini index of 0.67. Our economy shows modest growth, with health spending at about 9% of GDP, split almost evenly between the 16% who are medically insured and the 74% relying on public health care. Health indicators remain a challenge, with an infant mortality rate of 22.9 per thousand live births and a maternal mortality rate of 100.6, which is well above global SDG 2030 targets. Adolescents are a critical group to focus on because they are in a transitional stage, facing growing autonomy but still limited in healthcare decision making. In South Africa, medical consent is possible from age 12, but surgical consent is at 18 or 16 with parental assistance. Services for this group are fragmented, where pediatric healthcare ends at 13, yet adolescent-focused health and social services remaining poorly aligned and largely concentrated in urban areas. Access is inequitable, with rural youth often traveling long distances and township youth facing overcrowding, poor amenities, and socio-economic disadvantage. At the same time, adolescents are navigating high-risk behaviors, which places them at risk for HIV, STIs, teen pregnancy, substance use, violence, and mental health challenges, which is all further compounded by the country's deep inequalities. These factors make adolescents both vulnerable and essential to consider in health system planning. South Africa has a strong constitutional foundation for children's rights set out in Section 28, and over time our policy development has reflected a commitment to human dignity, equity, and social justice. Of particular relevance are two key policies. First, the Integrated School Health Policy, which is a progressive whole of government and whole of society effort, bringing together the departments of education, health, and social development. It focuses on partnership, inclusivity, and holistic learner-centered services. Its priorities include health screening, health education, and immunization. However, it is highly dependent on collaboration and funding and often excludes out-of-school youth and learners with long-term health conditions. Second, the Adolescent and Youth Health Policy, which emphasizes youth-friendly care, which notes that services must be accessible, equitable, appropriate, confidential, and evidence-based. Its focus areas extend beyond schools to include sexual and reproductive health, substance use, HIV, TB, nutrition, violence prevention, and mental health. But challenges still remain, with limited awareness and lack of dedicated spaces, gaps in staff training, fragmented delivery, and a very strong urban bias that often relies on NGOs. Together, these policies show that South Africa's progressive intent, but also the persistent challenges in reaching all adolescents equitably. South Africa has a strong set of national policies that can help guide provincial and local governments in tailoring services. We have already seen real successes at metro level, which proves that it can be done. But the challenge now is to build on those lessons, scale them up, and pilot them in rural areas with support from more resourced colleagues. At the same time, adolescents themselves are becoming more vocal and organized, and recognizing them as a unique group, no longer the forgotten middle, means creating space for youth leadership, formal advisory groups, and peer mentorship in shaping healthcare services. Technology also opens up new opportunities, and social media can help share reliable health content. Mobile apps can support bookings and service access, and e-health platforms can be designed with young people at the center. And none of this can happen without collaboration. A whole of government and whole of society effort is needed, bringing together health, education, social development, home affairs, sports, arts and culture, alongside NGOs, faith-based and community groups, the private sector and universities. The pieces are already in place, and the task now is expanding these opportunities in a coordinated and equitable way. Our call to action is to ensure that local policies are rooted in national and provincial frameworks, but also tailored to the specific needs of communities. They must be value-based with measurable outcomes and supported by ongoing monitoring and evaluation. To be effective, these policies must translate into practical tools, standard operating procedures, referral pathways, and a standardized package of care. Stakeholder engagement is key, which means mapping the right partners at every level, including youth groups, and adopting clear engagement strategies that build collaboration and buy-in. For the Department of Health, we need dedicated adolescent spaces, not only in clinics, but where young people are, with centers of excellence linked to academic hospitals, flexible clinic hours, and staff recruited not just for technical clinical skills, but also for their empathy and communication. We must also ensure transition plans for adolescents with long-term health conditions and strategies to retain skilled staff. A true whole-of-government approach is required, where Home Affairs can ensure universal birth registration, social development can expand grants and protection systems, sports, arts and culture can invest in grassroots activities that build safe spaces, and education can make schools a key point of entry for services while keeping learners, especially pregnant learners, in school. Higher education institutions must embed adolescent health into undergraduate and postgraduate training across all disciplines, while research priorities should be youth-centered and ethically sound, as well as being African-centric. Finally, across all sectors, we must recognize that our greatest capital is our human capital, which means investing in capacity, fostering interdisciplinary teams, teaching interpersonal skills as a core skill, and leveraging technology to extend reach and improve care. Collaboration and people-centered design, constant evaluation are the principles that will turn this vision into reality. In closing, South Africa is a country of diversity but also inequality, with adolescents often the forgotten middle in the healthcare system. Yet, this group is at a pivotal stage where their healthcare choices will shape future generations. If we want our communities to thrive, we must ensure that adolescents start well with access to equitable youth-friendly care, supported by collaboration across sectors, grounded in healthcare policy, and driven by the voices of the young people themselves. Thank you.